Hello everyone. Before you develop Terraform automation, you should know the certain things, the important things that can help you to automate your code in a better way. The number one is registry. So let me show you what is registry it means. Going back to the browser, registry.terraform.io, that is an essential thing because it will help you to write your code. You need not to memorize things like the code, the modules, etc. Everything this registry will provide you. Basically, it provides you the code. It provides you what provider it supports, and also it gives you the documentation and etc. Okay, so next one is you need to know about providers. What is providers? Providers are nothing but it is the third party. For example, if you wanted to connect from your laptop to the external softwares like your AWS or Azure, so those are things are called cloud providers. Basically, if you wanted to write your automation, you wanted to connect from your laptop to the respective cloud provider. For example, going back here, if you scroll down at the bottom, you see a list of various cloud provider that Terraform can support. So AWS, Oracle, Kubernetes, Google Cloud, Azure, and if you click CR, there will be lot of providers that Terraform can support, and they are classified like these are all the things that are developed by Ashikar, and then there are partner providers where the respective company itself wanted to develop few things and which we can adopt into your automation. You look at here, there are like 95 pages. That means it is basically supporting various lot of providers that Terraform can support. Okay, coming back to the presentation, Terraform blog. What is Terraform blog? Let me go back to the registry. Everything you can find it in the registry itself. For example, let's say you wanted to do something in AWS. You want to connect to your AWS, but you don't know where to start. Simply, you can go and click the provider here. So here, the one what I'm highlighting here, this is the Terraform blog. Basically, this blog is what will communicate you that you are going to use a provider which is called AWS, and that version is 5.81.0. Let us say for your automation, you started long back 5.50 something, and you wanted to use some specific version due to some dependency. Simply, you can go here and find out. We can click view all version, and then you can select the respective one. For example, I selected 5.77.0. You see here the code that supports 5.77.0. Okay, I will say how this is going to be used in the automation. In a few seconds, I will explain you what is that. So you need to understand that what is Terraform block means. Basically, it helps you to find out what provider are you using in your code. Then it will help you to connect to the respective cloud provider. In this case, AWS. That means you can connect to your AWS provider using the Terraform block. Going back to your presentation, next is resources. Okay, now you connect to your cloud provider, but I wanted to connect to some resources. In Terraform, in AWS, you have EC2 instance, VPC, you have like so many things like firewall, security groups, so many things. There are a lot of resources that is available. You wanted to connect to the cloud provider, and then you need to create those resources. For example, if you look at here, this is your Terraform block, and you are using AWS, and you are going to use a region, US East one, and then this example tells you that you are going to create a VPC using the CIDR block 10.0.0.0. If you wanted to create a EC2 instance, simply you can go here. Again, let me summarize. Click your documentation and it will land you to this page, and whatever the resources that you need, you can simply search here EC2. You can type for EC2, and that EC2 will give you the list of resources that can basically give you a lot of resources. For example, if you wanted to create an AWS instance, click that AWS instance. you can copy this code and use it in your Terraform file. Okay, going back to the presentation. So resources is something once you connect to your cloud provider, if you wanted to connect to create or modify or delete any existing resources, then you have to use the resources in the Terraform file. Current versus desired state. So desired state is nothing but your code. So whatever the code that you develop, this is called desired state. So usually you need to whatever the code that you develop, you wanted to convert this desired state into the current state. So in GitOps model, it is always essential that to keep your desired state and current state as same. So basically your code and your infrastructure should always maintain the same. Whenever there is a change in any of this state, as a DevOps engineer, it is your responsibility to keep both the state identical. Okay, next one is Terraform workflow. This is a very important thing which you will be using it on your automation. Once you develop your Terraform file, for example, this is my Terraform file. Let me clear it. Okay, even I will delete this one as well. I'll delete this too. Okay. Okay, so you have a code Terraform file, and the number one in Terraform workflow. The Terraform workflow basically has four different things. One is init. So when you do Terraform init, if you see here, I just have my Terraform file, and I mentioned that my cloud provider is going to be AWS, and version is 5.80.0. When I type Terraform init, it will basically initialize your backend. I'll explain you what is backend in an upcoming video. And then it will also initialize your provider plugin, and it's trying to download this 5.80.0 into your local. You go to your Visual Studio. Underneath, you see this is a directory what it got downloaded to your local machine. This exe, you see, if you see here, this exe 5.80.0 underscore x5.exe. This exe is responsible of connecting from your local machine to your AWS cloud provider. Okay, next one, after init, once you initialize your backend and download your plugin, what is needed for your automation, the next thing is plan. Okay, coming back to my Visual Studio here. Here I'm saying that I'm going to create the AWS underscore instance, and this is like this is should exactly match what you have in your registry. This can be a user defined. This is a resource name, and this is called the resource type. So this has to be exactly match what you have it in your Terraform registry. And your plan is to create a AWS instance. So simply when you type Terraform plan, it will tell you what you are trying to do. Basically, you are trying to create the AWS instance. Okay, so when you do a plan, you see there is a state file get created. I'll be giving a detailed video about Terraform state file in the upcoming one. Okay, you see here there was some error. Basically, it does not have my access key, and that one I just ran it as an environment variable. I'll explain you about all that stuff later. How to pass your credential in your Visual Studio. I'll put a separate video on that. Okay, so now going back to your presentation. Once you do init is going. Let me summarize. Init basically download your plugin to your local, and then it will help you to by initialize your backend. So I'll put a separate video about Terraform state. That time I'll explain you about what is initialize backend means what. Okay, and finally the third one is apply. This apply is basically, so far until Terraform plan, we haven't done anything to your AWS portal. So let me go back here. I'm just going to use AWS. Okay, if you look under instances, it will be empty. Okay, so that means you till init or plan, whatever the code that you develop, that is not going to update anything in the cloud provider. When I do terraform apply, that is a time basically it will go and update your create your AWS instance under your cloud provider. Okay, so I need to give yes. Going back to my browser, we do refresh, you'll be seeing something is getting created. Okay, so while that is creating, so I will quickly show that there is a state file get created. Okay, so anyway, I'll be explaining about state file in a future video, but I'll try to touch a little bit on this video as well. Okay, going back to the presentation. So next, after you apply, the apply is a command actually they help you to create a resource or modify a resource or anything like create or modify that will help you to, this apply command is going to help you that. And finally destroy. Let us say that your cloud provider, the cloud, whatever the resource, the EC2 instance that you created is not going to be in use, and you think that this application is no longer is needed, then simply you can go back, Terraform, destroy. So unlike other automation where when you do, if you need to maintain two different code, like one for creation and another for destroy, you have to create a different separate code. But in Terraform, the same code, just using that destroy, that will help you to even delete it. Okay, so going back here, if you do a refresh, soon it will become like shutting down and it will get terminated. You see here, first it will try to shut down, and after it gets shut down complete, it will try to terminate. Okay, it will take some time. Okay, I was talking about the Terraform state. Yeah, since I deleted, that's why you are seeing that there's nothing exists. Okay, going back to your presentation, next is a Terraform state. Okay, this is a very important topic. I really wanted to cover it in a separate video because that needs a lot of details. I need to explain it. I don't want to keep it simple and short. So Terraform state, I'll explain it in a different video. Thank you.